Hello to my beautiful family of light. Yes, that is you. Stick around with me. You'll learn even more. Hey, my name is Claudia, and I want to welcome you to my channel. I am so happy to have you here. I'm doing a series of videos that follow the premise, and it is foundational belief for me. We are souls having a human experience, and that we are way more than we think we are. So if you want to explore further with me, then I am on chapter 22 of this little series of videos that it walks through me from my early stages of life all the way up through the beginning stages of coming to know there's something going on. I don't know what it is. You have to trust that inner thing to guide you. And those videos up to that point are ones I've already done. Now I've been led this past Christmas, which was 1990, and let's see, I was 39 at the time, to have Christmas with my mother. We have a couple of weeks with family and all the merriment of Christmas that is possible, and my mother knew how to entertain and to feed delicious food and enjoy everybody. And my last day there, she had a moment where she let out an inner feeling, thought, worry, consideration that she did not want to die by a stroke. Okay, so that's where I left off with the last video. And the next day was New Year's Day, 1991, and I drove back to Wyoming, my home, and Mom, had went on to what was happening coming up. So I'm going to pick up here. This is episode 22, and in this episode, Mom goes into a coma. So I called on Friday. I left on Wednesday, New Year's Day, drove back to Wyoming. That's a 2-day drive for me. And, it's winter time, so you've got mountain passes to contend with and all that fun stuff, but it's a beautiful drive. But I was full of thoughts that year because I went out knowing something, not knowing what, but something was going on. Spent the whole time with my mom, and people came to us or I went to see them during the day for little bits of time. And in that time, then that last night, she let out that she was afraid to die by a stroke. And my mother was an intensely brilliant woman. She could argue any subject on the planet. She could take either, be devil's advocate on either end of it, and she just absolutely loved that. She's extremely intelligent, creative, and pretty marvelous woman. So a stroke would have been a devastating thing for her, not to maybe to lose part of your mind, or some of the things that would interfere with you having a creative and wonderful mind. Okay, so I call to let her know I'm back safely, and it's a Friday. She's going in on Monday for the initial assessments for coronary bypass surgery. And I get a call from her on, I think it was Sunday, and she'd had a minor stroke, a little mini stroke, and she was in the hospital, but the doctors were saying it didn't look like it was anything serious at all. It was just kind of a warning. They needed to take some extra precautions, and that she was fine. And she was talking to me on the phone, but she wanted to say to me, don't come now for this bypass surgery. And the same thing that I had said to her prior, I'll know when to come, came out. And she once again said, I'm counting on it. So there it was twice. And so I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, they were delaying the surgery a bit. When they did the surgery, I got a phone call that she was in recovery and that the operation, they were very pleased with how it went, everything. Her ticker was working good. All the things considered, she should be coming out of recovery. They were going to keep her in there until 3 or 4 hours, however long it takes to to do all that stuff. And of course, your chest has been open. I get a call that evening. Well, let me see. How do I want to say this? Yeah, that, and I could have a day or so off, but I get a call from one of the boys, one of my brothers, who says she's not waking up. And I said, you know, interesting. And I listened, and I said, well, you know, just keep me posted. I said, I think it's better if I stay here until you think it's time to come. And so he said yes. And I said, but let me, you know, give me an update. Somebody give me an update every day if you would. Just a quick phone call if you would. Anyhow, so the next day I come home from work, and for some reason, my coat is still on, but I had a tremendous urge to go meditate. And so I got my coat off, went in and sat down in the area that I have, lit some candles, went into this meditation, and boom, there's Mom right in front of me. Not the white-haired, reduced person that she had become because she was so tired. This particular life had, you know, pretty much drained her. And she looked at me just absolutely glowing. My mother was like 5'6", auburn hair. She was a gorgeous woman. And she said, sweetheart, she said, I'm not coming back. And I listened. She told me a couple of things. And I said, well, you know I'll know. And she said, well, I'm counting on that. And with that, we parted. There's, you know, all of this is, you're not speaking words, you're telepathically communicating. And so with that, she disappears, and I just linger in that, those moments that were absolutely, it's like you're infused with an energy of love and understanding and awareness. And I totally understood that she was worn out. It was, you know, brilliant person, and just was a difficult life. There's a lot to that in and of itself is a story. Okay, so I get a call then later that evening from one of the boys who said, you know, I'm sorry to call you so late, but we really want, you know, we want her to come out of that coma, and it's not happening. What we're being told is there's about 1%, right around 1.5%, and sometimes a little bit less, brain function. And she's in a coma. So, and there's no clinical reason for it. Everything was successful. And so, you know, she's just hanging on there, and that sets into motion because she is in a coma. They're going to wait one more day before they're looking at the living, or what do they call that? Is it a living will? It tells its instructions on what to do if you don't want to. It's a no resuscitation. That's what it is. Anyhow, so. Every day then I'm getting a notice from the boys, no changes, everything's the same. And now they're coming to another meeting with the doctors and the staff because they're at that point where they're coming up to that point in a couple of weeks where no food. You 10 days or something, you withdraw the food. And so, you know, and I've got a sibling who really struggled with that. There's a lot of compassion in me for that sort of thing. And the rest of them were really following her instructions. They were just allowing the doctor and the established thing that she had requested to be fulfilled. Interesting for me. So I'll just stop and tell you where I was during that process. For me, when Mom visited me and said I'm not coming back, that was a soul-to-soul communication, a choice that she was saying. Everybody's soul knows the best thing for it. There may be, we've heard of spiritual contracts. There's soul-to-soul contracts. In other words, when we take on the form that we've chosen, we have an agenda. There's a bigger picture we're part of as God's children. We are here as his children, and we have abilities and capabilities. And what I'm experiencing during this time with my mom is the soul, my soul and hers, in harmony and communication. And I had nothing but love. I've never been stronger in my life. I've never been so certain of my role. My job was to be her advocate, was to be on her side. Now, it's not that you're choosing sides, it's just that the soul has a different language than this physical form. We're here trying to pay the rent. We're here trying to get the car fixed. We're here thinking we want to take that vacation in 2 weeks. And oh, brother, now what am I going to do? My mom is in the hospital. Do I leave or what? No, there's none of that. There's no considerations of this outside world. This is a distinct being, lending me the opportunity to collaborate and to let her, I was being her strength here for everybody else. So, there's no doubt in my mind, there's no worry, there's no fear. And what I realized is that worry, doubt, fear all come in because we don't know what death is bringing. We don't know what death means. And I know in the moment she showed up with me that we're going home, where the soul is going to leave this little thing behind. It's going to return to the earth, but the soul is headed home. And so there was no doubt in my mind. All right, let's move on. A couple of weeks have passed, and now I get the call that they're going to withdraw the fluids. And once fluids are withdrawn, the body won't last. It can last without food forever as long as there's liquid. So I get that message, and that after the next day I go to work and I am antsy. There's nothing to describe to tell you what's going on in me. It was an inner agitation. There was no cell in my body that wasn't going like this. It was just my whole being was vibrating and agitated. I was like a cat on a hot tin roof. And I went home from lunch from my work, and I opened the door, stood in the door, and something happened. And I stood there, the me that you're looking at, stood there and watched as my soul, went over to the phone, where the desk where the phone was, called the airlines, made a ticket for 3:30 that afternoon. It's like 12:30 here at noon. And then I just set about, doing the rounds, making sure everything was buttoned down, packed a bag, and got partly back in my body, and went up, did the make sure the mail, all those kinds of things are taken care of while I'm gone. And I don't know how long I'm going to be gone. I go get my ticket. I go to the office. I tell them I'm leaving, and they want to know something happened. And I said, no, there's been no changes. It's just time for me to go. And then I left and flew. And I'm going to stop there because the next couple of bits are really all part of this, everything's part and parcel of this story of what's going on with me, this agitated soul that is not agitated. It's trying to get me out of my head. The soul thinks from the heart, and it's actually the center, the seat of the soul is just right around the heart. There's a little area there. And so that's where it was coming from. And there's nothing logical about what I'm doing. And you're dealing with reason logical, rational people who want to know what's happening, and you got your bag packed and you're headed out the door. So there's more to it, right? This is just the beginning. And so thank you for joining me today and for sticking around on the adventures of this person who is about to have a really big exploration. And thank you so much for joining me. It's fun to tell this story, but you have to. The important thing isn't my story. It's that behind my story is what's going on, what is propelling me, what's moving me. And I can guarantee that every single one of you has been influenced by that nudging, by that knowing that's inside of you. You just have to learn to work with it. And when you do, pretty marvelous things happen. So thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you being here. I want to say that I'm going to be starting a live broadcast, and I'm thinking about doing that next week. I would really like it if you would put in the comments whether you'd be interested in that and where you're from and the time frame for you. Now I will do my best. I'm in the U.S. and I'm in the mountain states, and I'll do my best to work around wherever you are in the world, and do, if I can't, I'll do two if I need to do two, but I want to do live Q&A. Ask me anything you want. Okay, let me know, please, and please be sure to like and subscribe. Those are the things that affect this channel's growth, and I really appreciate you helping me get the word out that you're way more than you think you are. Okay, I want you to know you're loved. This is me, my heart going out to you. My arms are going around you. I want you to feel the warmth, strength, and love within that hug. I want you to be good stewards of this planet and of each other. We're here to be expressions of love for our Creator. And in the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, and know beyond the shadow of a doubt, you are way more than you think you are, courageous and wonderful beings of light. Until next time, thank you. I'll see you then.